on mental well-being and resilience. So let's all welcome Dr. Sonakshi Ruhela.
Psychological struggles are less visible in life. Physical struggles are more visible. So because psychological struggles are less visible, it's easy to discount on them.
What do you think how the leaders can actually bridge the gap between the economic impact of mental health and the human side of story?
Accept vulnerability. Talk very openly about it. Weak salesperson or a weak, strategic thinker or a CEO is not accepted by organization. Vulnerability is not accepted by organization. Mental health problems are not accepted by.
But don't you think more than leaders, it all depends on a person itself, that
Yes.
they should accept themselves or they should actually understand what they are going through?
Yes, please seek help at organizations. And the organization should have a front door policy where they invite people and say, if there is something you're struggling with, please let us know. But depression can be worked upon. Depression is something that's easily manageable through psychological and psychiatric interventions.
In the entire process, you have rightly mentioned that females are resilient, that the token of perfection is always there. And when you have kids, that mother guilt you cannot leave behind.
UAE has done exceptionally well in providing mental health support, particularly to women, ensuring that women are taking leadership positions.
In today's fast-paced world, burnout, anxiety, and emotional fatigue have become all too common. Our guest today has made it her life's mission to address exactly that. She is a licensed psychologist, TEDx speaker, Harvard certified educator, and author whose work span counseling, psychotherapy, and behavioral interventions. Recognized among Asia's 40s under 40 leaders, she has guided thousands globally in building healthier minds and lives. With her book, Counseling Interventions for Millennials, published in 9 languages and archived in the Mohammed bin Rashid Library, she continues to shape conversations on mental well-being and resilience. So let's all welcome Dr. Sonakshi Ruhela. Hi, Dr. Sonakshi. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Priyanka. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to have you here again.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So, Dr. Sonakshi, research says that depression and anxiety cost almost more than 1 trillion annually.
Yeah.
From your perspective, why do you think mental health is still treated as a soft issue or in many organizations rather than a business priority?
Yeah. It's actually, if you see, it's quite unfortunate because the cost is very, very high
Right.
that we are paying globally annually for something like depression. I see this in multiple ways. One of the ways that I see it is psychological struggles are less visible in life. Physical struggles are more visible. So because psychological struggles are less visible, it's easy to discount on them. And that has been the attitude of most corporates. The second most important thing I feel is that no matter what we say, there will be a cultural bias, a cultural stigma towards how mental health is treated at organizations. Because organizations are still very immediate, short goal or profit focused in life. They don't have a long-term thinking about it. Investing in an employee or human resource is actually one of the best investments. However, because most organizations and corporates are focused on a particular profit, a particular goal in general, which is usually short-term and immediate in nature, it is easy for them to discount on something which is a long-term investment in mental health at organizations. So that I feel is one of the most important reasons. There is also, cultural sensitivity at organizations is relatively less with that respect. The focus is very high on maximizing benefits, maximizing potentials per se. So I think that is one of the reasons that it is still treated as a soft issue. It is not given too much importance because the visibility of a psychological stressor is much lesser in general.
Okay. But what do you think how the leaders can actually bridge the gap between the economic impact of mental health and the human side of story?
Accept vulnerability. Talk very openly about it. If you look at this, if both sides, both the employer and the employee, is able to have a conversation with that respect then they're able to feel safe. And when they're able to feel safe and create a safe space per se, then they will be able to perform much better. If you see most of the employees that come to us also in clinics, they often say things like, we find it difficult to get up in the morning and go to work. Even if I'm struggling, Sonakshi, I have to sit there and do my work, and I have to smile at my colleagues, and I have to do this, because if I don't do that, then I will be seen as weak. And a weak salesperson or a weak, strategic thinker or a CEO is not accepted by organization.
Right.
Vulnerability is not accepted by organization. Mental health problems are not accepted by. Would you ever hire somebody who's gone through depression and you have to put them at a strategic level as a CEO?
No, of course
No,
not.
of
Yeah.
course not. Because most of the people, they will think somebody who's gone through depression already has a slow capacity to process things. And therefore, investment in them is much lesser. But depression can be worked upon. Depression is something that's easily manageable through psychological and psychiatric interventions. So we cannot write off people because of that. And that has been a problem in the organizations per se. So if leaders are open to accepting people and understanding that they're resilient human beings and that they can make a lot of difference to organizations, right? So then we will be able to see this particular change.
But don't you think more than leaders, it all depends on a person itself, that they
Yes.
should accept themselves, or they should actually understand what they are going through,
Yes.
right? I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
like a person who's outside
Yeah.
cannot judge you what you are going through.
Absolutely.
If you yourself will not put a stamp, or you will not understand that maybe I'm depressed, or maybe I need some time,
Yeah.
or maybe it's a sign of burnout.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Individuals who go through any struggle, for example, it's anxiety, you've had a panic attack at work, or if there is depression, or if there is somebody who's considering, their spouses are going through depression, even that puts a caregiver burden on the person.
Right.
Please seek help at organizations. And the organization should have a front door policy where they invite people and say, if there is something you're struggling with, please let us know. So if that's a two-way channel that starts, then people would be more open about talking about it. They would be, like I said, the safe, secure, psychologically safe, secure space if they're able to build. And so it's individual responsibility to say, I'm suffering from this, I need a timeout. Before I burn out, I need a timeout. Yeah, or most people, what do they do in organizations? When they go through this kind of a burnout situation, they often switch to an organization. So attrition rate in most organizations is very high. Why? Because people are not feeling comfortable in them, and therefore they prefer switching to another place where there's more mental peace. Priyanka, on the table today, I'll tell you, most people prefer happy, good work-life balance than financial stability these days. Post-COVID, we have seen this as a narrative, as a dialogue amongst people. That, okay, it's a high-paying job, but it's at the cost of my family. I'm leaving that. Also, on the other hand, I will tell you a couple of cases why employees feel very unsafe. There was a gentleman who came to me who worked as a consultant in one of the top leagues here in UAE. He told me something very interesting. He said, Sonakshi, my boss is narcissistic. And I said, why would you say that? And he said, my boss is narcissistic because imagine at one point of time I had to tell him that, sir, my wife's lost her father and I would need some time. She's going through depression. So I need 10 days to drop her to India and come back. I'm not suffering from depression. My wife is suffering from depression. I have to just drop her to India and come back. So would you give me those 10 days of holidays? He said, when my annual review came, my performance evaluation, it was written that he has not performed up to mark because his wife was going through depression because she lost her father, XYZ. The family environment was not effective and therefore his professional performance is not nice. So he said, I found it so difficult. So I went to him and I asked him, why have you mentioned this in my performance appraisal? And the boss said, well, I had to show somehow that I have helped you in mental health practice in helping you through the situation. So I had to tell you, you remember I made you sit in the room and I told you, don't worry about this. I will give you 10 days leave. So I had to show that somehow in the report that I have been effective as a line manager. So when such things happen, people feel exploited. And so anything which is seen as a mental health concern is usually not talked about or hidden from the people in general. That has been the biggest problem.
Okay. But women often balance multiple hats. They are the caregivers as well, they are
Yes.
professionals as well,
Yeah.
and they are the homemakers as well.
Yeah.
And which can actually increases the chances of more stress
Yeah.
and burnouts in them, as well as anxiety.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest mental health challenges you have seen women face in corporate setting as well as in a personal setting, I would say?
Oh, lovely. Actually, this is a beautiful question. Um, Women go through mother's guilt like no tomorrow. That I've left my kid and I'm working here. My son performed bad at mathematics. It's me who's responsible for it, right? Or I had to attend the parents teacher meeting for my children and I couldn't do it because I had to be at work because I had a presentation due. So women suffer from mother's guilt, and the idea of perfectionism come very common to women. They want to make things perfect. They have a flow, they have a structure, they have organization skills, they have better planning and organizational skills in general. So the idea of everything should be perfect, everything should look nice is also a problem that women face a lot in the corporate setup. So besides the fact that they suffer from mother's guilt and perfectionism, another thing that women are suffering from is overload. So when it comes to either working at home or working at an organization, there are multiple roles they're juggling. I know somebody who's doing exceptionally well in the university setup, in the academic setup, but at the same time she's a mother who has 3 of these classes that she's giving to her sons, so she has to manage the drop and pick and drop for the child. She also has to manage her own parents who are living here in Dubai. So there is multiple hats, like you said, they're wearing multiple hats, and because of that, these roles burden them. They're not able to express what they need besides their work. So, like as a therapist, we always talk about living a 4-dimensional life. And a 4-dimensional life is you should have your personal life, which has your ambitions, your needs, your demands, your own time. You need to have a professional life, right? And then besides that, you need to do things like 1, recreation, engage in a certain hobby. Or 4th, any type of volunteership, that gives you good. Now, women are not able to do many of those, are not able to take much time out of them for themselves, only because they're always engaged in the personal and professional self. Also, I feel one of the reasons that women feel this kind of imposter syndrome at work is because they are not able to upskill themselves as much as a man does. So at one point of time, we were talking about glass ceiling. Glass ceiling has been shattered long back. It's not like glass ceiling is not shattered. However, now that you've reached the top, or now that women leaders are seen quite prevalent in the industry, you have to keep upskilling and reskilling yourself. Now there is a shortage of time for that as general as well. So that becomes one of the concerns what women are facing in corporates these days. And if you ask me personally, if you have a great spouse, if you have a supportive spouse, congratulations. But if you don't, then you're again overload of work is there.
All right.
So women suffer from a lot of these things in general. One of the beauty of women is that a woman is a very resilient creature. And they want to do things perfect. They want to do things good. So they're surviving well.
I think it's a very wonderful explanation of the question. But I want to add one more thing. That is delegation.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the entire process, you have rightly mentioned that females are resilient, that the token of perfection is always there.
Absolutely.
And when you have kids, that mother guilt you cannot leave behind. So, but if we'll add delegation, I'm like, if you don't have spouse, or if you have spouse, if you have spouse, I have seen people, they generally don't want to delegate. They don't want to share. And these things can be started. I think these are the generational things.
Absolutely.
When we teach our boys that you should share the household chores with the mom, you should support mothers, or maybe to your sister, it is not only the role of a female to learn the household chores. That thing changes from there only.
Absolutely.
So it's a cycle.
It is a cycle. I agree to this cycle. In fact, delegation is an important thing. I will tell you something interesting, Priyanka, here, because you picked this up. Women feel if it's children, they are the representatives for them. right? If it's work, they are the representative for them. So they want the representative idea, they take so seriously, the role playing of that, they take so seriously that if your child is not well dressed to a party, you feel like somebody's attacked you. If your team member did not do a good presentation, you feel like you've been attacked. So women take things personally. And because of that, they want the personal input to be very high, and therefore they have difficulty delegating. Because you want to do things that actually have gone through your eye. It has been approved by you. And therefore, delegation is a difficult thing. But if you trust the people, so for example, I'll tell you something very interesting. You know, when you hire an employee, you hire them after a process. There's a selection process that you go through.
Right.
So you trust them. Why do you micromanage them? Why is there a helicopter boss over these people? Only because you yourself don't have faith in your hiring. Likewise, if you hire somebody at home, for example, a nanny for your child,
Right.
you don't have to micromanage. Delegate. It'll be done. You've seen 4 nannies and you've hired one. It'll be done. But women find it difficult to let go of that control. And that has been one of the driving features for all the stress, if I say.
I think not only this, I think there are so many other factors involved in it.
Yes, yes.
The left brain, the right brain, because in the guys, the male, they don't take the things that
executive functions
seriously.
of it,
Yeah,
yes.
it's less in
Yes,
them. And for
yes.
females, it's like they want everything in the order.
Cultural
they want,
conditioning also.
So many things are there involved
we both
in that.
are Asians. We've come from a family
exactly.
where we were told that women have to take care of the house in a certain way. And so if the house is not kept in that way, who's to be blamed? If I come to your house right now and it's in a mess, I will look at you first and then look at your husband.
Yeah.
That's cultural conditioning for us. So naturally it puts more pressure on you.
Absolutely.
You know, for making things clean, whether
Right.
it is at home or is it at work.
It's more of a societal.
Yeah, it's a societal way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So career break can be very tough for women.
Yeah.
And both emotionally as well as professionally.
Yes.
So how can organizations rethink policies to actually support women returning to work after that gap?
Celebrate their return. Which I think is a very important. Now it looks as a very, very simple idea, but when you onboard people, you celebrate them.
Right.
But when they return, do you celebrate them? Or you just say, hey, they've come back and joined. So I feel that both formal and informal ways of celebrating someone's return should be a part of the policy.
Right.
Most times, if you see, the teams feel it's an HR's job. So they don't personally put their hand into it. They're like, oh, yes, welcome back. Nice to have you here. And khalas. But that should not be the way of looking at it. So celebrate someone's return is very, very important. 1. Number 2, offering them flexibility is very important. Usually I've seen that when women return to work, suddenly they find themselves overwhelmed because a lot of work has been pending for them. So a lot of work has been pushed over to them. Maintain the flexibility. Like they say, get them back into motion. When you drive a manual car, you don't put the car directly on the 5th gear. You go through the 1st gear, the 2nd gear, the 3rd gear, and then eventually you go to the 4th and the 5th one. So when you want somebody to come back to work, why push them to the 5th gear directly? So slow down the process, offer the flexibility. Peer support is a very, very good thing.
True.
I've seen a lot of transition happenings when, let's say women have gone, taken a sabbatical for a year and they have to come back. In a year, there are several policies that change, several, other colleagues have been added to the repertoire in general. Introduce people, make a peer program, which is very effective in general, where you feel like you're included. It should not feel like you went out and then this is a new organization that you're joining. So as inclusive as you can have the system, that better it is. And that inclusivity will only come when you get peer support, social support at work. So that becomes one of the important phenomenon. Another thing that I feel at the top of my head, if you ask me, that the way we can is by also looking at accommodation, in the sense, train people to rejoin.
Right.
Don't think that they already know everything because they've been a part of the organization. No. Every day, organization makes several changes to survive, to exist, to grow. And so if you don't orient them again, then it's like, oh, you've sent somebody to the pool without a life jacket.
Right.
So retrain people, even if they've come back. And this training and leadership, this training and learning is something that a lot of companies are not investing in, and therefore it becomes a problem majorly.
Yeah. And the support of, again, the family comes into the picture is very
Absolutely.
important.
Absolutely,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
it should go hand in hand, the companies, the organizations, as well as
Yeah.
the family support.
Yeah.
Then only a person will be able to actually manage work and personal life and the child,
Yeah.
which is there.
I'll give you an example. Last night I was sitting with a client. She's got her DHA license, the Dubai Health Authority license. Dubai Health Authority gives you 1 year to active that license. Otherwise, they ask you to reappear for the exam, which is a cost to the pocket, mental health cost, everything is there. Now imagine this lady has gone through a process of going through several clinics and hospitals, and they're not hiring her at this point of time, or there is a hiring, pause on hiring for a while or something. Now what happens? This lady gets an opportunity to work at a clinic, but at a school level,
Okay.
and not in a hospital and a clinic. Now imagine when she went to her husband and she said, I've got I've got an appointment letter. They're going to active my DHA license, but what they have told me is that you're going to work at a clinic, at a school, not at the hospital or a clinic space in general. The husband started to feel that this is something which is not up to her level. That you were a residency candidate in the country, in your hometown. You were going through surgeries, and you were doing surgeries. You were a part of a core team there. This that. No, she's come from a hometown in Asia. She's from Pakistan. She's come from Pakistan. She's adjusting to UAE. She's just come here. She's tried herself everywhere. Right now, the time is to get her DHA license active,
Right.
to give her work experience. She said to me, Dr. Sonakshi, if I don't hold the instrument, maybe when I hold it the next time, I might find it troublesome to hold it, So I need practice. As a person, I need practice. He's not understanding that I need practice.
Absolutely.
He started to see, you were working at one point of time at a certain level, you were at a certain pedestal, and as of today, you're not working at that level, so you're not a good candidate per se. So how the spouse perceives you after you have come back is a very important thing. Now he's suddenly, I married a doctor, but what are you? Now you're working as a, clinic doctor in a school? So his perception changed about this woman, his own woman. And that did such a damage to her self-concept. Which is something which is very, very unfortunate, that you have to see her, you were seeing her as a doctor, today you see her as a clinic doctor in a school. So you are absolutely right that the way family perceives you makes a huge difference in your confidence to rejoin work.
And along with it, being into this industry, I can see the job seekers, I would say, and the individuals every day.
Yeah.
They want to reach to certain level after a gap, or maybe after a certain experience, but the circumstances are not same.
Yes.
Maybe the job market is not same, or the situations, the opportunities have changed.
Yes.
But it's not possible. Maybe they will reach to that level.
Yeah.
Just leap.
Yeah.
They might have to take a baby steps to reach to that certain levels.
Absolutely.
But most of the people, they forget that, which is also important.
Yeah. If you specifically come from your own hometown and move to UAE in general, if you don't have a UAE experience, you struggle initially.
Yeah.
You start at a base.
But at
and then
least
you
start.
keep growing.
Right.
So if you're starting, you should be appreciated. If you're starting, you should be celebrated. Progress is important.
Absolutely.
It's not that you will immediately get to become a CEO of a company. And if you get to, great. But then sustainability will be a question.
Right.
So learning in this market is very different. See, Priyanka, both you and I know that the kind of diversity UAE offers is not there in our own respective hometowns. Isn't it? And so then it's important that this place is seen as stepping stones, and slow growth is a good growth here rather than a jump that actually made you fall flat on your face soon. So, that kind of a thing, if families understand, then they're able to support people very well.
Okay, so do you think that body image or self doubt or imposter syndrome
Yeah.
are adding more layers on the mental health of a female?
101%. And in few professions, specifically a lot more than others. For example, the real estate market in UAE, you will see definitely more women. And the prettier you are, the more business you are seeking is what the general perception or narrative in general. Aviation industry, generally puts a lot more pressure on women to be a certain way. So whether it is to do with body image, whether it is to see with how much you are, careful about yourself, how gorgeous you look, how beautiful you look. So the peripheral things are seen as more valuable
Right.
than the central things, as they say. And this is important. See, I'm a university professor. I know that students prefer even university professors to be looking cool, to be looking nice. They see what you're wearing, they see where you're investing, they follow your life.
Right.
Today, social media has made everything very, very diluted. Right? So there's a very thin line between how much access student has to me. So they're watching you. They compliment you. I mean, I have students, I can never imagine, going up to my school, faculty at the university and saying, "Oh, you smell nice, doctor." But they do that today. "Oh, I like the pink on you, doctor. The other day you were wearing a red. This is better." I can never imagine that in my time.
Right.
So it's very diluted, the authority, the thing, because they have access to you. So if you ask me, because of that, even me as a professor is very careful in what am I picking up, what am I choosing, how am I wearing, how am I looking. So body image is definitely something that has brought in a lot more focus in general, specifically to a gender such as women. But I must tell you, even men take care of
Right.
themselves quite a lot these days. Yeah, I have never thought of my father going for a pedicure, but I see men going for a pedicure today.
Right.
So that has definitely been there. Imposter syndrome, excellent point. Women suffer from imposter syndrome a lot more at work than men do. That's also because if you see, most of the top leadership today is still men. And because it's still men, most times, my debate with people is that women are losing their feminine side because they're wearing the pants at work. That women are actually losing a sight of who they are. They have more testosterone levels these days. They are more aggressive these days. They bring in a front which is, they have to be aggressive because they're not heard, is what they feed themselves. So women feed themselves that the only way they could be heard is if they have a strong voice like a man in a meeting. And so when they try to bring that, there is a man who tries to counter that. And in that whole concept, there is sometimes this imposter that develops. Am I at the right place? The imposter that develops is, am I the right person for this job? So I'm telling you, you pick up any top leadership, whether it's a man and a woman, both can feel imposter, but a woman feels it a lot more than men, which is unfortunate.
But do you think that mentorship and coaching plays a crucial role in the
101%.
development of the mindset of a female when they're working in a male-dominated industry?
101%. Mentorship is a very important feature, whether it is used for guidance, whether it is used for inspiration. In both features, mentorship is important. Having an advisor, having an executive coach is important. And if you see there, that's how the field of coaching is very important these days. In UAE, everybody has a coach.
Right.
They have advisors, right? Because they will pull you out, whether they will guide you, whether they'll inspire you, but they will develop you somewhere or the other. So mentorship is very important. Peer support is very, very important. If you see on social media these days, there are these funny things that are happening, which I really like. Like, let me see how many of your voices are recognized by the bosses. Have you seen that kind of trend on social media? Where the boss sits on the chair and the employees keep coming up there and they keep saying something and they have to recognize who's this employee. If you look at the pattern of it, there's no data per se, but if you look at the pattern of it, women recognize women voices a lot more than men voices, women bosses. Men bosses recognize the male colleagues' voices a lot more than female. So you see,
I have to study that.
yeah, but if you see, we're picking our own things, isn't it? We definitely are picking our own choices there. So I feel that when at organization, gender should not be something that is prime. Gender should not be seen as something that is valid in an organization. You see, an employee is an employee, whether it's a female or a male. And that's when the hierarchies will break, that's when comfort will come in, that's when awkwardness will go away, and that's when performances will be high.
Right. So we have talked a lot about the biases or
Yeah.
maybe the stress, anxiety level for females at the corporate sector. But I'm sure you are aware about the examples of the corporate or maybe a leader who truly made a transformative impact in supporting female employees,
Yes.
especially the mental health.
Yes, I mean, if you look at UAE as an example as well, Sheikh Mohammed, the ruler himself, makes such accommodations and brilliant accommodations to have women participation in his team. So if you see the Ministry of Health, they have enough women here, women leaders here. Like, for example, the other day we were discussing about Dr. Mariam Matar being an excellent example of how she, brings in her expertise, how confident she is. She spreads awareness about a lot of concepts when it relates to genetic diseases or health in general.
Right.
Right? So she is a very good example. And if you see, she's promoted, she's well supported by the ministry in general, well supported by the ruler herself. So she becomes a very good example. ADNOC as a company has done really well. So they come up with something called Energy for Wellbeing, which is basically to maintain a work-life balance in general. And because they came up with this initiative, their female leadership has increased by 26%. Which is a very good thing, because if you can
Right.
balance your home, you would want to take up leadership position.
Absolutely.
You will say, yes, I'm up for it. Yeah, it does not really take away from my home time. It doesn't really take away from my child's time. So their Energy for Wellbeing initiative is excellent. If you see, it talks about work-life balance, and it has really led women to sort of participate in leadership positions. Even at the university level, Ministry of Higher Education per se, they have come up with this brilliant idea of giving 6 months maternity leaves to women, because I should not feel this mother's guilt that I left my child within 45 days, of delivering the child. I've left my child and I've come back to work, and I'm still, my body hasn't recovered. I still need to breastfeed my child, but I still have to worry about all of these things and then take a lecture for 2 hours and 3 hours. So Ministry of Higher Education has, in some universities, you see, like HerTalks has 6 months of, maternity leave, which is excellent. Because by then the body is recovered, the woman's body has recovered, confidence has come back. She's gotten comfortable with the child's gotten comfortable with her. So it's easy. So there are several initiatives that are happening. Even December 2023 is when UAE recognized, mental health as a very legit feature. It's a recent affair, but they have recognized that mental health needs support. And so every corporate, if you see, has a chief happiness officer these days, whose job is to see whether there are initiatives that are enough for you to be happy, there are initiatives that are enough for you to be comfortable at organization. So there are several organizations within UAE. UAE is a very new market, if you see. It's not a very advanced market. It's not like it's established like 1,000 years of history like a UK or US in general, advanced country. But UAE has done exceptionally well in providing mental health support, particularly to women, ensuring that women are taking leadership positions, ensuring that women are out there and participating in general as well. I'll also tell you something interesting. There are a few universities in UAE that give you 10% scholarship if you're a woman student, because they want women to come and study so that they can go ahead in life. That's empowerment. So there are several practices that are happening here which are empowering women per se.
No, I think these are the wonderful initiatives taken by the government as well as the country itself. And I think we have discussed a lot about the burnouts, the anxieties and all. Everything revolves around the individual itself.
Yes.
The delegation and the discussing the things, maybe to a mentor, maybe to a coach, and how they want to share the burden, how they are accepting themselves in this whole journey.
Yes.
This is all about your own mental health and all. We have seen so many celebrities, they have gone through these things. But they identified the issue, they identified the gap, they discussed it with their family members, maybe the coach or the mentor in their life, and that is why they have came out of it.
Yes.
So
No, I think it is very important. At the end of the day, your mental health, you are important. Everything else can take care of themselves.
Right.
Even family can take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
If you're okay, your mental health is okay, your physical health is okay, your social health is okay, you have people to support you socially,
Right.
then you're doing well in times today.
That is true. And
So,
setting the boundaries that when you have to say no, when you
Yes.
have to say yes.
Yes, and it is the most difficult thing to set a boundary. It's very difficult to say no to people, especially when they're close to you,
Right.
right? But see, but the beauty, so for example, the beauty of the relationship between you and I as a person is the fact that I can say no to you because you know that my no comes out of a certain intention.
Absolutely.
Or there has to be a certain consequence because of which I'm saying no. So, uh, I always tell people the more authentic you live, the better your life will be. And how can you live authentic? If you're suffering, let people know you're suffering.
Yeah.
Reach out to people, seek help. Whether it is at an organization or it is at at your families, at your personal level. Seeking help should not be seen as a weakness. It should be seen as something which gives you strength. That you will seek help, you will fix yourself, you will return with vigor.
So true. I've
So,
seen
yeah,
females, I mean,
yes.
like they don't discuss these things at their own home. They think that, oh, I cannot say this thing to my child,
Yeah.
to my husband and all.
Yeah.
But I think kids can even understand. Tell them that mommy is busy today, or maybe I'm not in a good mood today, or maybe I need some space. I need a
Absolutely.
good cup of coffee or
Yeah.
something. I mean, just express the emotions.
Yes.
But when we hold the things with us, I think.
Yeah, that is the big problem.
Yeah.
See, unfortunately, even at an organization, Priyanka, if a woman returns to work after recovering from cancer, people are more empathetic.
Yeah.
But if I tell them, listen, she's returned to work because she went through depression for 6 months, will they be empathetic? So, because cancer is a visible physical concern, people will be more empathetic. But depression is not a seen concern, so people are less empathetic. And that difference, if we are able to bridge, that a concern at the end of the day is a concern, whether it's a physical concern or a mental health concern,
Right.
right? And people need that kind of time. Like you're saying, how many times, while your children were growing up, your coffee went cold. Your food went cold. Even till date would have gone cold. But do you have it in you to tell them that no, I need my time. I need to have a hot coffee.
I cannot drink a cold coffee.
Very good, you
I
do.
tell my
Yes.
husband, please take care of this thing for a certain time. I need to finish my coffee.
Absolutely.
Or I tell this thing to my kids as well. Because I understand when I'm managing so many things, it is
Yes.
very important for me to be present mentally and physically at that particular time.
Absolutely.
So this is very important for the females.
Yes.
That's what I was also saying, that share your thoughts,
Yes.
communicate. If
Yes.
something is missing, say, express.
Don't be shy about it. Talk to them, discuss them, tell them I'm not feeling well. Yes, but because I'm not feeling well, it does not mean I'm inadequate.
Right.
If I'm not feeling well, it does not mean that I'm insufficient, incomplete, or somebody who does not have the mind to perform. I will come back. Give me my time.
Yeah.
And I think if you're able to do that, then things will be back on track. You'll find yourself holistically performing.
Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I think it is an eye-opener for several. I'm sure when this episode will be out on Mental Health Day, people will understand the real value of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of yes.
And they always underestimate that me time or self and me, which is missing.
Absolutely. They will realize it, I'm sure. And by the way, congratulations. You're doing exceptional work.
Thank you so much.
For the woman here specifically, because I know that they suffer a lot from low self-esteem, especially when they're returning back to work. So doing incredible work. Congratulations to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.